Topic of today. Everybody makes mistakes, but you should always learn from them. I've made so many mistakes, you have no idea. In other people's eyes, I'm a fucking loser. To me, I'm not, because I learned a lot. I used to be naive. I used to trust people way too much. I used to just look at people and think that they're good without actually analyzing them, psychoanalyzing them, watching their behavior patterns. I didn't know any of that. I didn't understand psychology. I made mistakes such as not growing, maybe incrementally, but not enough for me to be a monster mentally. And the more you learn from your mistakes, the more you start having solitary within yourself. And what do I mean by that? Well, you see my cat. When you're Mr. Nice Guy, even if you're introverted, you're practically extroverted because you think everyone around you that you meet are good people. Everybody's friends that you meet, friends. You always try and see the good in people, and that's cool and all, but you get killed for that. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's just say you go to some picnic with your friends. You know, there's going to be people you're going to meet there they haven't seen before. If you're Mr. Nice Guy, Mr. Pushover, you're not going to be able to read them well. You're going to think they're buddy-buddy. You're not going to understand the nuances and tones that they give you. And you're not going to... you're just going to forgive them for their mediocrity and forgive them for just their lack of knowledge because you think you're on the same level as them. But then if you're someone that's good at psychology, you can look at somebody, even look at a picture of them, and just instantly know who that person is, the lies they got in their eyes. If they have dead eyes, you can tell they're a sociopath, narcissist, psychopath, things like that. And you understand you're not on the same level as these people. And that was my mistake. I made this mistake of being Mr. Good Doer, Mr. Goody Two-Shoes, trying to do everything by the book, never trying to confront nobody, always trying to be a good guy and always trying to keep everything so neutral and being like, oh, I'm on your side, buddy. But then I got fucked over for that. I got abused more than the people that should be abused or should be beaten by the world or should be looked at as enemies. The enemies made me look like an enemy by everyone else. I was naive. When I was in foster care, I used to think when I moved in to these random strangers' place, I used to think, oh, they must care about me. They must care about me. But then the more I got to know them, I started to see their mask unfold. And then, at the end, before I left, I kind of told them to their face that you're bullshitters. Because they were these God-fearing type of people that one of them was religious, Christian, all this shit. But how come someone that's so devoted to God is actually a demon? It doesn't make any sense, right? That's why you just gotta learn to not be naive and read people and be good at psychology. Because once you understand psychology, you understand people in the world entire, and you can't get fucked over. Yes, there might be a slip up where someone's real good at wearing a mask, real good at playing a character, real good at charming you, say the right things that even could fool you. But nowadays that shit doesn't happen to me. I can just look into someone's eyes and just kind of know who they are because of these mistakes I went through and the mistakes I made. And for a long time, I didn't learn from my mistakes. I made the mistake of being negative, bitter, full of resentment, weak. Just fucking so weak. Just because, oh, why did this all happen to me? Why, oh, why me? Why me? And I started looking at everybody like pathetic and shit. When now I learned from that mistake of not being bitter, not being negative, and having some inner peace. I just keep my distance. I know who you are. I know who I am. I keep my distance from you. But I made this mistake of thinking, oh, the next person should be a really good person, right? But I kept inviting the same type of people into my life. Non-ambitious people, non-driven people, weak-minded, mentally ill people, leeches, parasites, disgusting vermin of the universe. And why is that? Because I made the mistake of being so negative that I allowed that type of shit, and I wasn't smart enough to understand psychology. And not every mistake is a bad thing. Because if you think about it, if I didn't go through the mistakes I went through, and I made, particularly my fault, I wouldn't have learned all this shit. If I did everything right, exactly right, but without knowing what could go wrong, I'd actually be a fucking idiot. But because I learned the harshest way of shit, I can see vice versa. I can see the odd end of each end. The outcome of this, the outcome of that. It's kind of like knowing you have anger inside of you, but you learn to control it. So you're actually capable of being a dangerous man, but you choose not to be. You keep that shit at bay because you know what that looks like, but you actually attract good in your life because you know what ugly looks like. But if you live ugly all the time, that's all you're gonna get. And if you live good all the time, but you haven't seen ugliness, when ugliness comes into your life, you will fucking fold. You will crumble because you have never experienced it as such. So it's good to have a balance, a yin-yang of it, of some sorts. So learn from your mistakes because it can actually be a blessing in disguise. You might be sitting here thinking, oh, nothing's ever going to get better. Oh, everything's so bad. Why me? Why me? I used to be just like you. I used to just think, why me? Being all negative, not looking for a brighter side to the shit that I kept on feeling. You know, when you understand that learning from your mistakes is a blessing in disguise, you will be a smarter man or a woman, depending on who you are watching this. Because if I didn't go through all this shit, if I didn't go through that breakup, fucked up shit happening with friendships, people abusing me, people using me, people slandering me, people making me out to be something that I am not, and me not going through the stages of grief when my mother passed away, me not going through the stages of fury, rage, anger, bitterness, revenge, vengeance, things like that, I would not understand what true Zenness feels like. I wouldn't understand what true calmness feels like, or what it means. Anybody that's weak will crumble at the slightest change of anything negative. But a strong person who has been through negativity and overcame it can face shit so much easier and come up with creative solutions to overcome that shit. Like, let's say you're in a mistake right now. You're being told what to do, not having opinions of your own. When you start to learn what the fuck happens after that and how bad it makes you feel, then you will learn how to not fucking abide by other people's opinions and being told what to do. Then you will ultimately be a lot more stronger. That's you learning, overcoming, growing. I made mistakes of just not growing. I made mistakes of just being naive. I made mistakes of trusting people too much. I made mistakes of looking at myself in a negative way. I made mistakes in the thousands. And you don't see me repeating any of that. I made the mistake of not being confident. If I wasn't confident, I wouldn't be making these videos and having my face on the internet. If I was naive, I wouldn't be talking about the shit that I am talking about. If I wasn't a ruler of my own mind, I wouldn't post these videos because I'd be too afraid of people's opinions and disagreements that would ultimately make me delete my videos, delete my channel, delete my presence off social media, delete my presence off the internet, deleting my face off the algorithm. So learn from your mistakes because it makes you stronger in the end. But if you don't learn from your mistakes, you're just going to keep repeating history. Oh, I've had a history of trust issues. I don't trust anybody. The reason that you have trust issues is because you haven't learned how to read people. And so be it, maybe I might have some form of trust issues, but not in the same sense as other people. People who have trust issues were hurt way too many times, traumatized by people, family, friends, betrayal, whether it's sexual, just physical abuse, just other types of things. They haven't learned behavior patterns. They haven't learned psychological patterns. They haven't learned people. So they push everyone away instead of understanding human nature. That was my mistake. I had trust issues because of the trauma. But I wasn't smart enough to understand that if I just learned how to read people, I wouldn't have trust issues. So now that I understand people, it's not that I don't, still have little forms of trust issues. I just trust my judgment so I can trust people in some form, but not enough as I trust myself. But what I'm trying to say is, if you learn these things, learn from your mistakes, you're not going to have these trauma responses. Because I've had so many trauma responses. I would react to certain patterns, but once you understand the pattern and behaviors of people and the psychological shit of people, then you're not going to be living in fear. And I was living in fear. That was another mistake of mine. I lived in fear. I was too afraid to do anything. But that was because I didn't know how to do anything. I didn't look in the mirror and say, okay, I'm in fear, but how do I overcome this? How do I accept that I am in fear, and how do I change that? Some people just live in fear and stay at that stage instead of overcoming it. It's okay to be afraid, but to still do things is a form of courage. Don't be living in fear. That's a big mistake. Fear leads to regret and guilt and bitterness and resentment. And it's a big form of weakness. Cowardice. Being cowardly. What else could I add to this? Well, I made the mistake of, well, shit, there's so many mistakes. I made the mistake of allowing people into my life too quickly. Oh, this guy's nice. He must be a nice person. Anyone can be nice. Jimmy Savile can be nice. Jeffrey Epstein can be nice. But being nice is also a form of illusion. It's a form of conformity. It is also a form of just regular politeness. It doesn't have a means to anything. I can be nice to you, but then I can think another way of you. I can be nice to you, but deep down I feel nothing for you. You gotta think like this. You gotta think that just because someone's nice to you does not mean they like you, does not mean they care for you. Maybe they want something from you. And maybe if they don't want anything from you, they're trying to get on your good side, so you put your guard down. Oh, but Daniel, you're just, that's just another form of trust issues. No, it's a form of just understanding psychological patterns. And yes, good people are nice too. You know, I've met good people and they're nice because they genuinely are. But don't mistake it with everyone else. Just because someone's nice does not make them a good person. And that was a mistake of mine. I allowed idiots into my life and convey an image to me of who they are just because of that gateway. It is a gateway into your life, into your vicinity, into your inner peace. It's the same thing with gifts. Apologies, my phone died for a second. Where did I leave off? Gifts. It's the same thing with gifts. When these people give you a gift, it's not them being super nice to you and being like, oh, you're my buddy. In some cases it is with really good people, don't get me wrong. But sometimes that's people's way of buying your trust, buying your friendship under false pretenses, under false intentions. So you gotta learn from that too, that not every single thing that looks like a good thing is a good thing. I forget what I touched on because of my phone, I apologize, but let's just keep going. I also learned the mistake of not worrying about seeing old faces or seeing people I used to know that I had fallen outs with. And let me give you an example. I had a friend from college. He was cool, he was a good dude, he was a very good dude, nice dude. But his biggest flaw was that he's weak-minded and a bit of a bitch. In college, he was a bit older than me. I was 16, 17, he was probably 18, 19. So nowadays, he's probably 24, 25, maybe a little bit older, I forget. We had a falling out over some dumb shit because he wasn't a man of his word. He invited me to go to the pub. I'm not a big pub guy. He knows I don't drink, so he didn't force me to drink. But, he offered to pay for my meal. So I said, okay, are you sure? I'll pay you back. I'll pay you back. And he's like, no, Daniel, it's fine. It's fine. And I kept on telling him, bro, do you want me to give you money? Even though you declined me multiple times, do you want me to give you money? And he was like, oh no, Daniel, it's cool. It's cool. It's fine with me. I'm like, okay. But if you want me to give your money back, just let me know. He paid for my meal. We had a good chat. We hung about. It was cool. Then he wanted to meet up again. But on this particular day, I had parcels come in. I live in my own little home. I had a parcel that was meant to come the day before, but it didn't. you know, and I said to him, like, look, I know we scheduled time to hang out, but this parcel was supposed to come like yesterday. So if you just give me an hour, it should come. And then he's like, okay, that's cool, that's cool. And then an hour goes by and I'm like, bro, I don't know what's going on. Like, you know, like it should have come by now. It's like 1. The parcels should come like between 11 and this time. I don't know what to do because it's Royal Mail. Like usually they don't deliver even like way later. And he's like, no, it's okay, it's okay. But then when I told him, bro, I don't know what's going on. Like I really need to wait for this parcel because it's important. And this was around the time when I didn't know my neighbors too well, so I didn't want parcels to go to my neighbors, and I didn't want to knock on their door and ask for the parcel and shit, and you know, things like that. Then he starts changing, switching up on me, like on the text, on voice message. He's like, you know, I just feel like you're taking the mug out of me, you know, and then like, I paid for your meal, but like, you're supposed to give me my money back. I'm like, what's this about now? What's this about now? I told you many times, do you want me to pay you back for shit? And it's been multiple times like that, and I did give him money back, you know? So I didn't know what this shit was about. Then he starts squaring up to me and shit, being like, you're just a fucking asshole. And I just said to him, listen, you're a fucking snake. You're not a man of your word. You're weak as shit. You're not man enough to even tell me to my face, like, what you've been feeling. You've been holding this shit inside. Why didn't you tell me this shit? Like, or you're not my friend. And I just said, you know what? You're a snake just like the rest of your fucking friends. You're a bunch of pussies. You're this, that. I went crazy because I was like, dude, this guy is testing me and he's supposed to be my friend. He wasn't a man of his word. He's saying shit that doesn't make any sense. Now he's switching up on me. He needs to understand that I had a parcel, you know, like I gave him many, many reasons. So when I confronted the shit out of him, then he starts going, oh no, Daniel, let's just be friends. Let's be friends. And I'm like, fuck you. So I blocked him. And that was that. 3-4 years later, I'm in Tesco in my nearby area, like it's nearby me. I'm just in the shampoo aisle, for fuck's sake. I'm just looking at shampoo. I don't give a shit. And then I feel a presence next to me, and I didn't know what it was, but it was him. And he noticed me first. I turned to my right, and he's cowering. He's like this. Running away from me. And I'm like, what? What the fuck? I haven't seen this guy in years, and this is how he's acting in public. This guy's older than me. This guy has a beard. He's a grown-ass man. So I follow him. I follow him with my trolley and shit. I'm like this. You know, in the aisle. Like, and then he fucks off. He's cowering, trying to go to the other side. And then I follow him again. And he's like, bro, I see you. You see me. This is pussy shit. And then he runs away to some relative and is all normal again. Now, I could have confronted him, could have just been like, hey man, what's up? But it wasn't worth it. What's gonna come out of that? And I didn't feel anything. I made the mistake of being afraid of old faces. I was fearing for my life if I was gonna see someone I used to know. Be afraid of seeing people that like I had bad falling out with. But I learned something that day. That people are more afraid of you than you think. And it is all in your head. Because if this guy, who's a grown-ass man, who says the shit that he says, immediately backs out of what he says, years later doesn't even stand up and shit and be a man and actually just come and talk to me, cowers away and shit, what does that say? That my character has changed so much, and because of the bad history, some people will fucking actually be afraid of you. He sure as shit was afraid of me. And I felt nothing. I felt nothing. The only time I felt a little overwhelmed was afterwards. Like, I was like, oh shit. I was like, oh shit. That fucking happened. And I felt nothing from it. And this guy was cowering. And it was weird to see him again. But I learned something that day, that back then I used to think it was a mistake calling him that, calling him a snake and all this shit. But then I learned something, that it was a blessing in disguise, because I learned that people that you're afraid of are cowards. Why are you afraid of cowards, beta people, incels? And this guy used to talk about going to the gym and he's like, oh, you know, I'm trying to lose some weight and shit. Bro has not changed in the years I've not seen him. The only thing that's changed is that he has a beard. That's about it. He has no drip. He clearly hasn't sharpened his mind. He clearly can't put the history aside. He's not man enough to confront me. None of that. So I learned a lot that day. I was like, holy shit, I'm the man. And it taught me that I'm no longer afraid of people that I used to know. I'm no longer afraid of people. And I've grown so much in just those few years. And these people live in fear for their entire life, for years. And that could be you. So don't make that mistake of living in fear. Don't make that mistake of being afraid of people. Don't make the mistake of cowering. Just, you know, don't be a man baby and shit. And that's another thing I'm going to touch on as well. Don't make the mistake of being super emotional. Learn to use logic. Because when I saw him, my old college friend, I had no emotions. I just logically thought to myself, this guy is cowering. He must be a pussy. Why is he not man enough to come and speak to me? I was, but he ran away. I wasn't going to chase him. I guess I'm going to go back to my day and just buy the shampoo I wanted to get, because I wanted to get the fuck out of Tesco anyway. Because I made the mistake in the past of being super emotional. I feel like this, I feel like that. I made the mistake of having outbursts, anger, just full of rage when shit didn't go my way. I'm not gonna lie, even earlier I kind of got a little angry because the recording died, and I was just in a mode because I was talking for so much longer and the recording died. So, yeah. So don't be an emotional wreck, because it will wreck your life. It's like a flame. When that little flame starts to become a roaring fire, it can either consume everything around you and burn the shit out of everything, or you can control that fire and use it as fuel. You know, oh, this fuels my passion. This fuels my drive. Other people use that flame to fuel their downfall, fuel their misery. And that's another mistake as well. Don't be living in misery. It will ruin your life. But yeah, it is crazy to me how much I've grown, all from simply taking a step back, accepting my mistakes and learning from them and understanding the outcomes of these things. Because if I didn't learn from them, I would have just been the same exact guy, being emotionally driven, no logic, peer pressured, not living my own life. You know, Nowadays, I'd be glad to just walk past that old face and just feel nothing from it. I'd be glad to see that person I used to know and look at them and then look down as I'm staring hard at them, because I earned this shit. I earned it. And this isn't ego. This isn't ego. You might be thinking, oh, this is ego. You just got a fucking stick up your ass. No, no, no. Ego is being deluded and thinking you're a hot shot, thinking you're flashy, thinking you're all this, when you got 5 eviction notices. That's ego. Pretending to be someone that you're not. This is just genuinely me. This is just genuinely me. And it's because I grew the fuck up. I made the mistake of blaming people. And blaming people will ruin you, because if you blame others for your mistakes, then you will never hold accountability for the things you have done, or the things that you were at fault for, or the things that you are flawed in. And your life will just be fucking in a constant peril of turmoil. And you're just gonna keep pointing the finger. That guy fucking did this, that guy fucking did this. When the finger should be pointing at you. Pointing at you. Hold accountability for your actions. Actions have consequences. Have you not heard that saying, that phrase over and over and over again? I'm not sure what else to touch on. Because there's just, in conclusion, the moral of the story is just learn from your mistakes. You'll be better off. Because once you do, you'll pave the way to a path that you so desperately want. Success, self-improvement, self-love, self-betterment. Just being in a constant world of positivity despite the fucking demons you got, despite the bad history you got, despite the trauma, is how you deal with it. And 99% of people don't know how to deal with themselves. It's why people can't live alone. It's why people feel so lonely. It's because they don't know how to deal with themselves. They don't know how to deal with the silence. And I was exactly like that. I couldn't deal with being alone. Don't make that mistake. Don't make that mistake of just being so lonely that you're looking for someone to fill in that void, because you're not helping the root of your problem. You're not solving the source. You're not going deep into your fucking mind and your subconscious. You're not rewiring this shit. You're not working on yourself. You're just passing time. You're wasting time. Because after that person goes, you go straight back to square one. Don't make any of these mistakes. And if you have made these mistakes, so be it. But are you going to learn from them? Are you going to blame yourself this time? And even if it wasn't entirely your fault, you still had a part in it. It's like a stage, You're not the puppeteer. No one's puppeteering you. Nobody puppeteered anybody else. It just happened. The stage was set, and you were a character in that stage, that situation, that bad memory. But if you just rewatch it, replay, look at the script, what was said, what was something that you wish was said, what could have been a different outcome. Go through that over and over again and just work on it. And then the next time you're in a stage play, you'll be able to bend the rules of those scripts. You'll be able to say what you want to say and have the outcome you want, instead of a script reading you and just bad shit happening to you and you're just the tragedy character. Why not be the king, the queen? Why not be the character that triumphs over their own misery? Usurp that throne that you so desperately want to sit on. Why keep playing the character of a peasant? Why keep playing the beggar? Why are you begging for like something? You should fucking create it. And that's just how you gotta look at it. But yeah, I might just wrap this up. It's a shame that the recording ended because I was saying some good shit, but we do what we do. And, you know, last thing I'm gonna say, don't make the mistake of giving up too early. Don't give up. I made that mistake so many times. I gave up doing YouTube for a long time. I should have just started and kept on going. I made the mistake of giving up on myself. I made the mistake of giving up on what I believed in. Giving up on my dreams at one point. Giving up on my passions. Don't give up. It's the biggest mistake you can make. Giving up on yourself is like dissecting a one-of-a-kind and butchering its insides until you can't even recognize that beautiful specimen. Giving up is like an amputated soul. You can't put that shit together. Like, back together. You can't put that shit back together. I mean, you can. If you believe in yourself and you don't give up. But if you give up, you stay amputated. You stay dissected. You stay a muddy puddle. You stay fucked up. You just gotta keep waiting. You just gotta keep going. Because who knows if tomorrow would have been your day, your chance, something great. But because you gave up, that day never came. Tomorrow was just another day. But anyway, that's about it. In conclusion, don't make, learn from your mistakes. Don't make my mistakes. And if you made these mistakes before or you relate to it, learn from them, as have I. Everybody makes mistakes. And it's okay to make mistakes because they're a blessing in disguise. But you should learn from them because once you do, you'll be better off. You'll be happier. You'll be able to deal with things a whole lot better. You'll have a different outlook on life. You'll be happier. And it's not an easy road. It's not an easy journey when you're in a spiritual growth, when you're in a journey of enlightenment. You're not going to understand everything at first. There's going to be a lot of confusions. There's going to be a lot of things that you're not going to be able to fit into. You're going to lose some friends. You're going to lose people's eye on you. They're going to like think, what the fuck is going on? And they're going to beat you down for it. But it's okay. It's your life. It's your chapters. Stop writing about other people. It's your time to write about yourself for once. How many pages have you written that are about other people? What about you? It's your book. It's your life. It's your name. But anyway, that's about it. Everybody makes mistakes, but you should always learn from them. That's about it, really. Hope you have a good day. And thank you for watching. Cocksucker.